Hey everyone, welcome to Module 14, Writing for an Academic Audience. In the introduction here, it points out that we spent the last several weeks discussing differences in writing styles. Specifically, we have looked at the differences in writing for new media and writing for traditional media. Hopefully you have seen subtle differences in preparing text for consumption in these two modes. That was the whole point of those modules, for you to see how traditional writing was created and formatted and disseminated compared to new media, and for you to be able to gain some comfort in both of those modes. Always remember that any differences that you sense in writing style are explicitly related to changes in the rhetorical context, an important concept that we discussed earlier in the term. Yeah, when you formulate information and you present it in a traditional mode, the approach that you take is different from the approach that you take in a form of new media. The style is different, the language is different, and so forth. And what we're going to see in this module is that there's another difference when it comes to academic writing. So it points out here that to remember that the rhetorical context refers to the myriad of factors, myriad meaning many, or a variety of factors that influence how a speaker or writer will attempt to communicate. Those factors include message, mode, and audience. This week we will begin a discussion of academic writing style. This discussion will be important to you as you carry on throughout your academic journey. Now, you should be thinking then, as you read an academic text, who is academic writing for? So, in these articles, researchers conduct research and they use language that is specific to their field or their discipline. And it's often high-level language. So who do you think their target audience is going to be? Is it going to be the average person? For the most part, no. It's going to be other researchers, other academics usually. What does academic writing sound like? That is, how is the language formulated? What is it? How do they use language to convey their message, and what does academic writing look like? Okay, so there's a reading here for you about academic writing style for you to look over, and another source about what is academic writing. I'm going to let you just look at that on your own. You should look at it. It will help you out here a bit. Let's look at Journal 14.1. What you're going to be working on in this is you're actually going to compare an academic source, an academic text, to a traditional media source and a new media source. Now you have here two groups. You're going to choose to work with the texts that are in one of the groups, either group 1, paranormal activity, or group 2. Don't use both. Can't tell you how many times students will read one text from here and then read a text from here and compare them. That's not the point. You're going to use group 1. You're going to use this new media here, this traditional media here, and this academic media, this academic article. And that's it. Those are the three things you're going to compare if you choose to use group 1. If you choose group 2 about gender reveal parties, you're going to use this new media here, this traditional media here, and this academic media here. Okay, so it's either group 1 or group 2, but not both groups. What are you going to do? Well, you want to look at the different text options and make some notes about their obvious differences. That is, how are these texts laid out differently? How do they go about targeting their audiences differently? How is the language formal or informal? What's the comparison there? And so forth. So things that you can talk about in your comparison is, how would you describe the tone of each of the three texts in your group? How would you describe the author's bias? Maybe the author tries to eliminate bias in some way. Well, how do they do that? Who is the intended audience and how do you know? What research did the writer or speaker do to understand the topic and describe their research process? And identify ways in which the academic approach to research and writing differs from the other forms. So essentially what you're doing is you're comparing the three texts, traditional media, new media, and academic media, to see how they present their information differently, even if they're talking about the same topic. So for example, I'm just going to stick with group 1 for a second. There's this YouTube video about did this YouTuber prove ghosts exist, and how he goes about trying to prove whether ghosts exist. You also have a news article here, which is the traditional media. So we're still talking about paranormal experiences or the ghosts. Well, how does this present information about ghosts compared to this one? Like, how is their tone different? What's the potential for bias in each? Who's their intended audience for each, and so forth. And then you've also got your academic one. You need to make sure that you address the academic source, because this is the new one, basically, for this module. You've worked with traditional media and new media before. You really need to make sure that you're focusing on academic media and how it is similar or different. Now, this academic text, there are some things to notice. How do you know that's an academic text? Well, it's written by two people who are from the Department of Psychology at this university in this place. It tells us it's a research article here. It has an abstract. An abstract is a summary usually of the study itself and the study methods that are used. Okay, and if you were to even like try and figure out what this is, +1, can I copy that? Yeah. Oh, look at this. I open it up. It's a peer-reviewed journal, it says. An inclusive journal community working together to advance science by making all rigorous research accessible without barriers. So this is an academic research journal. So there's even structural indications and things in the layout of information that indicate that this is an academic text. But you should look at this, particularly the abstract and maybe the first 2 pages. You don't even need to read the whole thing, to be honest with you. And you'll notice that there's all kinds of scientific language that's being used. This investigation tested the effect of priming of pareidolia, the hearing of illusory words and ambiguous stimuli. Participants, 41 women, 20 men, mean age 29.95 years, were assigned to primed or unprimed groups. The former were told the study was of purported ghost voices, the latter voices in noisy environments. So the language that's chosen is very formal. There's specific examples here that you could use to even give an example of tone. You need to think about what do these people actually do in order to eliminate their own bias, and compare it to what does the newspaper writer do to eliminate bias, what does the person in the new media who's doing the YouTube video, what do they do to eliminate bias, and so forth. Now, one thing that you need to do is you'll need to include evidence from all 3 of your sources. So you should quote things from all 3 sources with in-text citations, and that also means then that you need to have a works cited page. Now, a works cited page, I'm pulling up Word here as I'm saying this because I need to demonstrate this. The works cited page for a scholarly source follows the general format that we've been using in this course already, but there are a couple other things that need to be added in, and that's the volume number, the issue number, and the page range. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate for you, and you can do this for if you choose group 1, you'll use the same formula or the same works cited entry that I'm going to do. But just remember, if you choose group 2, this is going to be your academic text here, and you're going to need to find this information and lay it out on your works cited page appropriately. But I'm going to demonstrate it just by using this ghost one. So first I want the last names of the author or authors and their first names. So it's Williams Jess is going to be the first one. Williams Jess, and I think it was Blagrove. What was the first name of that person? Mark. Period. Last name, comma, first name, and then the word and, because I have 2 authors, and then last name, comma, first name, period. Now I'm going to do the title of the paper inside quotation marks. So there's nothing unusual here. This is what we've been doing. Paranormal experiences, sensory processing sensitivity, sensory processing sensitivity, and pareidolia. I think that's the end of that. Oh, and the priming. Sorry, and the priming of pareidolia with a period and close quotation mark. Okay? And then after that, I need the publisher, which is going to be PLOS1. And it should be in italics. Actually, I think that they do this. They actually do it PL and then lowercase os. There we go. And that's going to be italicized. Now, here's where the new thing happens. We need the volume number. And it gets abbreviated VOL. So it's VOL period. And then I'm going to come back here. And the volume number is going to be this first number here, which is 17. So VOL period 17, comma. And then the issue number, which is NO period in MLA style. And it's this second number here. It's number 9. 9. And then I need the year, which if I look off to the side, it was published in 2022. That's followed by a comma, and then I finally need the page range. Let's see, this is pages, well, this is pages 1 through 19. 1 through 19 in a period. And then, by the way, of course, I'll have the title centered and stuff. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply my hanging indent as well, and double space it. Okay, so there I have my entry for my scholarly article. You want to use the same formula that I just used, regardless of which, whether you're doing the gender reveal one or if you're doing the paranormal one. Okay, so that is your goal, that is your work that you are accomplishing here in Module 14. If you have any questions, please email me. Thank you.